Mark Benson stays a little overtime this morning as we talk UAlbany and Siena men's basketball. Now, could the women work out their own arrangement? I did read that the two coaches were talking. I assume the ADs have to get involved in this too. Could they do their own thing if they wanted and go every other year and just kind of stay out of the other mix?
Yeah, I think when the series started, it wasn't always a doubleheader. I think that's a fairly recent change to the series. So certainly could be a standalone game and would have merit to be a standalone game for both respective schools. So I think, again, as we're talking through this, those are the type of things that we want to consider.
All right, let's talk about the importance of you get your school in a series, and we just finished a 3-game series, getting to play at CEFCU Arena. Well, I mean, why that's important to you and to your, obviously we know Will Brown's stance on it. And look, I wrote this morning a quick take. I think fair is that when you have a series, and I get there's a larger venue downtown and more people can see it, and I'm not just saying this because it's UAlbany and I do play-by-play for UAlbany and all of that. I would say it no matter what. When you have, if it's going to be a series, Duke, North Carolina comes up a lot. You have to play in the opposing team's building at least one time. That seems to be common sense.
Yeah, I think being able to play at your home court is an important component of any series. Whether obviously when you're playing league opponents in the America East, it's always home and home. And if you look at rivalries across the country, I was involved in a really good one when I was at Old Dominion at the ODU Virginia Commonwealth. We were, some years we were in the same conference together, and some years we weren't. And the rivalries continued out as non-conference opponents, and it's a home and home. Again, it's an hour and a half drive. I think our proximity really skews the issue a little bit. I think if one of our campuses were moved an hour away, it probably would end this where do you play question. It would just be about we're going to play together. So I think it's important, but I also think there's a number of ways that equity can be defined. There are rivalries that split arenas, or I think Xavier, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But one of the issues that they had, I believe, a few years ago was their fans became a little unruly and decided to get a little more personal in their feelings about each other's schools, and they halted. I think it extended the court. They halted the series temporarily. So I think just got to look at all options, but certainly you always want to play on your home court. I think every school does. And in this situation, I think we just keep looking at options and what's best for each program and what's best for the community.
I read we had a listener, a viewer, those who read the newspapers now and read the Times Union this morning. I got an email this morning. Roger, I read your quick take this morning and think you missed the point. This is the Albany Cup, not the UAlbany Cup. 10,000 fans or more want to see this game, and putting it in a 4,500-seat arena is not feasible. This year, my understanding is that Siena season ticket holders did not get the tickets as part of the package. That's true. So UAlbany could have had the same number of fans, if not more, at the game. But the reality is that Siena has a bigger fan base, which is surprising considering the size differential of the school. This game, much like Union and RPI, is about the area, and denying 5,000 or more fans the opportunity to see this game is a joke. Split the arena down the middle, let each school buy half the tickets, and then resell them to their fan base, and let's move on. This area has so little in terms of big local sporting events. Let's not let this opportunity get away from us. If this game does not happen, you can blame both parties, not just Siena.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's always, what is the saying? It takes two to tango, right? So certainly wouldn't want to hopefully not get in that situation where we're having to blame anyone. Hopefully we're in a situation where we're sort of celebrating moving this rivalry moving forward. But, size of venues, you talked about Duke, Carolina, we all play in bigger venues and smaller venues. Yeah. I've been to schools where you play, in a gym that holds 1,000 people or 1,500 people, and then that team turn around and they go play in an arena that holds 10,000. So, that's certainly one argument. And depending on where you sit or what jersey you wear, that argument has more relevance to you than to others. But a community can be defined a lot of ways too. Certainly there's a Siena community, but there's also a UAlbany community. And then we have our greater, capital region. So it's not an easy thing to work through.
So we'll see what the next step is, which will be after the first of the year. The two ADs, yourself and John Dargenio, sitting down. I will say this. From just a fan standpoint, Forget, alliances to either school. Just from a college basketball fan standpoint, I think the fans want to see this rivalry continue, as evident with 9,000 people in the building.
Oh no, it's a great rivalry, and certainly garners a lot of community interest. And I think it's good for the Capital Region. This is one game a year. The better we do, the better Siena does the rest of the year, and our conference play tournament is good for basketball in the Capital Region.
And this is a hoop area. People like their hoop around here. Yeah,
and if you look at some of the things we do around Coaches versus Cancer, where talk about what's important or not, Coaches versus Cancer is really health is the most important thing. And if you look at how we collectively come together on that, it's one of the best Coaches versus Cancer events I've seen in the country. Our ability to come together to raise funds for a great cause says a lot about I think the two schools and about the rivalry.
Time with Mark Benson, Director of Athletics, University of Albany, in studio this morning. Your men's lacrosse program. I think after the first of the year, we'll come out with the rankings of where they're going to be ranked in the top 10. Are they going to be ranked in the top 5? I mean, Scotty Marr sitting on a team that could make a serious run here in the national championship.
Yeah, Scott's done a great job with this lacrosse program, and it's funny. I had never worked at a school that offered men's lacrosse, so my first time ever seeing a collegiate lacrosse game was here at UAlbany, and I was fortunate enough to see Lyle Thompson play. So I've been a little bit spoiled by the type of the caliber of play, but also the style of play. And so I think a lot of preseason polls will have us in the top 5, nationally. We've got our face-off guy. We've got a great keeper. Connor Fields is back, who was a Tour-a-Ton finalist last year. I think he's again predicted to be a finalist again. And then Tahoga and Annika are incoming freshman.
Yeah.
It's a freshman now.
Stud, man, he could be the best ever.
Yeah, it was number 1 recruit in the country.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was at Binghamton for the softball championships last year, and I'd never been to their venue. And I saw one of their athletes throwing a crossball against the building, and I just asked, where's the field was, and he said, "Hey, did you speak at the lacrosse banquet?" I said, "I did." He said, "You're the AD at UAlbany?" I said, "I am." And his eyes got really big, and he says, "Hey, you have this freshman coming into Hoga." He says, everyone says he's going to be, maybe the best, but I played with him at IMG together, and I'm telling you, that kid, he is the real deal. He plays like the Thompsons, but he's, 6 foot, 240 pounds. So he's a big guy. So it's really going to be exciting to see how our team comes together. And, it's like anything else. You got to have good health and good opportunities, but certainly is setting up to be a special type year for us.
And then one more before I let you go, Mark. The basketball team, UAlbany men's basketball team, before the year is out, will host Kent State, and there's a local tie there.
Local tie there. Before we get there, we have Canisius this Saturday.
Yeah, Canisius, right? And we'll have that.
No local tie there, but
no local tie there. But right, Canisius.
We got to get through that one.
And then I'm going to you and I are both going to Louisville next week. So I'll be out Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then there's Kent State.
Rob Senderoff is a UAlbany alum. This is interesting. This is the second team on our home schedule this year that features an alum as their coach. Of course, we already played Yale, Coach Jones. Rob Senderoff was a student assistant for Doc Sowers and is the head coach at Kent State. They had a really good year. They won the MAC, the single A MAC. Last year, went to the NCAA tournament. So we're going to do some neat promotions around with our alumni base in particular, maybe by his class year and some ticket prices. We're always trying to get creative ways to do that, reach out to different communities and pricing. So like Canisius, we're 10-1 right now. So let's hope we're $10 tickets for 10 wins. So get those in now before our game upcoming, and we'll do something around Coach Senderoff being an alum for that game. But just kind of a neat storyline. Good opponent. Recognizable name in Kent State's kind of a national brand. So it's nice to have a team like that come into SEFCU and a chance to compete on a little bit bigger stage.
Sounds like a plan to me. And congrats on the Albany Cup victories. And let's see what happens after the first of the year. And hopefully you and Darge can figure out something that will work for both sides.
If you come up with a great idea, and if it comes with a big sponsor attached, that would, I'm sure, get more consideration by all.
That's always the breaker right there. Big sponsor, and look out.